Hey now. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am coming to give my reaction and update you guys on the Tim Norman case. Miss Robbie's from Sweetie Pie's son. Um, he murdered, I guess you all are aware, he unalived his nephew through a murder for hire plot. Um, Here in my city, St. Louis, Missouri. They are well. No, Andre is from Texas, but Miss Robbie and her son Tim is from St. Louis, Missouri. She had a lot. Well, yeah, I guess you all are. I probably won't have to go into that because I know you guys are familiar with Sweetie Pies. They had the TV show, as well as we had a lot of restaurants, but her last one just closed. Her big one that she had down off of Lindell, it has closed. So she's no longer in business, but she is still doing like singing gigs down here and different little uh, locations. Nothing like big, but just little singing gigs she's getting. I guess she's an older woman. She's seasoned, and I guess it's time. All that running those restaurants ain't gonna do nothing but kill her quickly. So she wants to preserve her youth and enjoy and come back to her singing. But yes, her son, Tim Norman, has been sentenced to 2 life sentences, as well as an additional 240 months for the mail fraud, the murder for hire over the mail. So yeah, he won't be seeing the light of day, and that's good. Good for him. He took that young man's life over some money for insurance that he did not receive. He was bullying that young man when he was down here. The young man had just graduated high school. You know, he was into the music. He was doing good for himself. He went back home to Texas due to issues that he was having with Tim, and he was pretty scared of Tim. Um, and Tim called him back down here as if everything was all good. He was going to help him get in the studio and so on and so on, when in reality, he was calling him to his death for this insurance fraud that he set up for, I believe it was 150,000, but $150,000 for anybody's life. That's crazy. It's mind-boggling. You know, the things that people will do for money. But we know how that goes because we watch it every day in life. You know, over deaths and different things over money. But you know, I just feel like the root of the love of money is the root of all evil, and people are doing some very serious things, like we're seeing as well on the YouTube streets, saying and doing anything for a buck instead of just being blessed by God. You don't have to be rich in cash, but you can be rich in spirit. You see, so that beats any monetary gain that I could have, being blessed in the spirit, you know, having joy and having my peace. That beats everything. That just beats it all. But yes, he has been sentenced to 2 life sentences, as well as the 240 months in federal prison, and good for him. Good for him. You know, he hadn't even been. You know, he had it made in the shade. You know, he had a life when he came out of prison this last time. His mom had a life set out for him. You know, he went around opening up all these restaurants in LA and in Texas and different places under her name, Sweetie Pie, and she had to sue him over that, as well as, you know, he was running the businesses into the mud because the food didn't even taste the same. It really didn't. The one out in Florissant, Missouri, oh my God, in Airport Road, I don't know if anybody's familiar with St. Louis, he was running that woman's name in the mud. And just opening up random restaurants everywhere, one in Soho and all kinds of stuff. And she ended up having to sue him. So I feel like she would have been next on the list if that wouldn't, since it didn't go through with Andre and he didn't receive that money. Miss Robbie had been watching her back, because he would have killed her for the inheritance and some money. You know, he didn't want to go back down to a normal person class life because he had came out and was rich, TV shows, restaurants, money, women, and he just didn't want to live a normal life. So he did everything, anything and everything to make a buck, which was taking his nephew's life. The young man had already didn't have a father. His father, which is Tim's brother, Miss Robbie's son, he had been murdered years ago down here in St. Louis. And so if instead of just taking on that fatherly uncle role, he intimidated him as well as his other nephew. So it's just because he didn't want them around to being heard and nothing that he felt belonged to him. So it was just rather sad that young man had to go out like that at the hands of his own family member for a buck, for $1. Everything's about the dollar now. And I'm just glad that's not me. I used to be a caught up woman in this world years ago. And I had to realize and live and learn, that money ain't everything. And to be around here just, with no integrity, no morals, no ethics about anything that you do, to make $1, you need to go back and rethink your decisions, And like I say, I used to be out here in these streets, but God bless me. Like I tell my daughter all the time, baby, you saved my life. And she's 25 years old, and it didn't happen overnight because I was 20 years old when I had her, but it was the beginning. It was the beginning, knowing that I needed to keep a roof over my head. I needed to keep transportation. I needed to keep a job. I had to have food on the table. I had to make sure I wasn't out in them streets taking chances. I still used to go out and everything like that, but I had to stop all that. So over time, and after Red died, which was in 2008, and that was Jordan 16, so that was 14 years ago. I'm just telling you guys a little brief story because, like I say, I'm not ashamed of anything in my past because it made me who I am today, and I'm a great person by the grace of God. I give God all the glory, because a lot of my folks, they didn't make it. They in jail, they strung out on dope or deceased, so I made it. I made it through, and I'm always thankful. I'm grateful. I'm humble. So, I tell my daughter, you saved my life, baby. And in 2008, that even snapped me into business and real quick, because I had to do it on my own. I didn't have any help anymore, Well, I had my grandma, because me and my mom had a strained relationship, but I always had my grandmother until she passed away 3 years ago. But she had got dementia, and she ended up kind of losing it about maybe 9 years ago. So I had moved her in and was taking care of her until I'll have some story times about some things, because boy, I tell you, I got a lot that I can talk about other than everything that's going on these YouTube streets, and just have that testimony to show people how God is amazing and how if you just rely on him, how blessed and prosperous you can be, and so yeah, when he passed away in 2008, I really snapped into gear. Anything that I still was hanging on to that was unlike the Lord and keeping me in the wilderness and running on the devil's territory, I let it go. I let it go because his own friend killed him. You see, robbed him and killed him. And I grieved. I grieved for a long time. I really did, and I kind of blame myself because he had got off into them drugs, he was the dope man and turned into the smoke man. And I was working for the bus company, and like you say, you just think you better. I'll tell you guys about that story. But for now, we're just talking about Tim Norman, Sweetie Pies, Miss Robbie, and Andre Montgomery, and how he got 2 life sentences in 240 months. So he's never, ever going to see the light of day. Because I believe if I'm 46, he's somewhere in his 40s as well. And that's good. That's good because they gave him life sentences. And if it would have been like a 1 life sentence, that's 30 years. And he here in St. Louis. So that might have giving him an opportunity to be like 75 or so if he was still alive and come home. No, he needs not see the streets. He's a dangerous man. He is a dangerous man, an evil man, you know. But yeah, that's the update right there on Tim Norman and the case. And like I say, I want to start doing some story times after I start going live and figuring all this stuff out. I'm gonna do some story times, like I say, because I have a testimony, and if I share it, it can help someone. You know, people that are going through, you know, me battling with depression after 2008. Just so many things about how my children are blessed. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna talk about too much of them, because you know I'll snap and go way back Wednesday. Folks is play around with my children. Our children are off limits to me. You know, these are our babies, our next generation. This is our lineage. We don't need to be tearing no kids down. And it's a lot of ignorant folks on these YouTube streets that I don't know where they came from, because they ain't cut from the cloth that I'm cut from. You know, I just really look at them in shame, and seeing why the world is the way it is today, and why our children are the way they are today. You know, we don't have no village no more. But God bless everybody, and I love you all. And that's the update on Tim Norman. Anybody want to celebrate? Let's celebrate, because he did not need to be all that lying. He was lying through it. You know you did that. You knew you did it, you know. But I'm kind of upset that the girl didn't get a lot of time, the girl from down in Memphis that lured him out of the house, that he also paid her as well. You know, she was from Memphis, but I think she got only 3 years. And I'm like, what? Oh, God. But, you know, when you turn state or feds on someone, they, you know, for your cooperation, you get less time, you know. But she should have got more than that. 10 years would have been at least something, you know. They teach you a lesson. Don't come back out here and do no stuff like that. 3 years, that's a slap on the wrist. Time is flying so fast and ain't waiting on nobody. She'll be out quicker than she blink an eye. But yes, y'all, everyone, I'll be dropping some more content. I'm seeing some things going on the YouTube streets, but I'm kind of trying to, you know, just chill, because that stuff is draining. It really is. And these are these people's lives, and they're making their bed. They're going to lay in it. They're digging a ditch, and they're going to fall in it. But like I say, I am a reaction channel, and I will be reacting on it, you know. But God bless you all, and have a wonderful, prosperous day. I appreciate you all. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Cut on your post notifications, because I'll be back with something new. I thank you all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.